Haram love. This is a love story of an unacceptable or forbidden love affair resulting from racist motives between a white Sudanese Arab girl and a black African Zanji boy from South Sudan. It was written in English and translated into Arabic by Dr. A. Ahmed. Copyright. All rights are reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means without the prior written permission of the author except by the reviewer, who may extract brief passages from the review for printing in a general magazine, a school journal, or a university article. All characters in this novel are fictitious and any resemblance to real people, living or dead, is purely coincidental. Chapter 21. The runaway bride meets Hajj Abdullah. Elam's third day began with severe pain due to headache, fever, hunger, and loss of hope. She is afraid that she will collapse in the street if her illness worsens. She pulled her weak and tired body out from under the big bridge and walked slowly up the riverbank. She saw many people going to work and students going to school. These students reminded her of her school days at her girls' high school and her encounters with her first lover, Dang, on the way. She shed hot tears when she remembered the severe punishment her haram or forbidden love with the so-called accursed African Negro slave had caused her. She wished she had never met him and fallen in love with him. His haram love brought her all these disasters and made her a murderous wife, a fugitive, and a homeless girl. She followed the students on Nile Street as they were going to school, and she was a student who was expelled from school forever. Every now and then, Ilham stopped to rest. Sometimes she would sit for long hours, other times for only a few minutes. Wherever she went, she was harassed by a crook or a beggar. As the day wore on, the fever and headache became unbearable. She believed that her illness was caused by a lack of food and improper sleep. She longs for a good supply of fresh food and decent shelter. She had nothing of value left to sell or exchange for food. If she could, she would sell the clothes on her body and the shoes on her feet. But she realized that if she walked barefoot, people would think she was a crazy girl. She knows that no one will give her food without expecting her to give him her body for sex. She decided that she would rather starve to death than sell what was between her thighs to men. The homeless girl, Elam, continued her meaningless walk through the streets of the capital city. When the sunset came, she started dragging her weak body as if her feet were firmly planted on the ground. Her headache became unbearable. The fever in her body worsened to the point that it affected her brain and caused her to hallucinate. By then, the streets were empty. Women are inside their homes preparing Ramadan food and drinks, while men gather in groups to break their fast. She went through some of those groups, but no one invited her to join them because she was a woman. These Muslim men believe that having a woman among them defiles them and invalidates their prayers. Because of her headaches that took over her brain and unbearable hunger pangs, the poor homeless girl, Elam, was forced to search for a thrown morsel of bread, spoiled fruit, or crumbs of rotten food inside the garbage container. The homeless girl bent her back with 2 stray dogs and searched inside the garbage container for something to eat. The container emits a foul odor and is infested with flies, mice, lizards, cockroaches, and other insects. While she was desperately searching for something to quench her thirst and satisfy her hunger, Elam heard the voice of a man saying the Islamic Shahada in a loud voice, "I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of God." The man repeated the aforementioned Islamic creed 3 times before the homeless girl, Elam, raised her head and looked at the owner of the voice. She saw an old man with a long beard. He wears bright and beautiful white clothes. His head is covered with a large white turban. He holds a prayer bead in his left hand and a large staff in his right hand. "What are you doing here, my daughter? Are you a human or a demon?" Elam could not answer his questions, but she kept looking at him with eyes full of fear. "In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Satan." The runaway and homeless girl continued to look at him with eyes filled with tears. How does a free Arab daughter like you eat spoiled food from a garbage can? Who are you, my daughter? Where do you come from? What is your name? The old man asked with great astonishment the beautiful white Arab girl. My name is Iman Sulla al-Junaid. Insaf lied again about her real name, and this is the 5th time she has changed her name. From fairness to benevolence, then brightness, blessings, and inspiration, and now it has become faith. Insaf, Isin, Ishraka, Inam, Ilham, and Iman. Each name she chose bore the first letter of her real name, Insaf. Where did you come from? I am from Kassala City. Where is your home? Who are your parents? I don't have a home in the city. I have no family, relatives, or acquaintances in the Sudanese capital. I don't have money. I ran away from home and my city of Kassala because my drunken brother wanted to force me to marry his evil friend. My parents died in a traffic accident when I was 5 years old. Why don't you go and knock on the doors of believing Muslims and tell them about your problem? No one will believe me. My bitter Arab daughter, Iman, please get out of this dirty place and come with me to my house. I am a married Muslim man and I fear God. I have 3 daughters the same age as you, and my wife also fears God. No, uncle, I don't want to go to anyone's house. Let me die of hunger and disease just as a stray dog dies in the street. I am tired of being chased and running from city to city, from house to house, and from street to street. Wherever I went, people did not believe me. They sheltered me for a while, then took advantage of me and expelled me back to the streets where I came from. When Iman said these words, she prostrated herself on the piles of dirt and garbage and began to cry. The kind old man approached her and patted her shoulder lovingly. Don't talk like that, my daughter Iman. Do not despair of God's mercy, and as your honorable name Iman means, you must have faith in the one who created you in a free Arab family. Come with me to my house. We have more food and rooms than we need. No, uncle, I don't want to follow you home to your family. I don't want to burden you with my problem. Please, my daughter Iman, rebuke Satan and come with me. Your face reveals to me that you are a free Arab girl from a noble family. A bad girl does not eat from a garbage can if she is needy and hungry, but rather eats from what she earns by selling her thighs and breasts to lustful men who do not fear God and have no mercy in their hearts. Then the kind old man took Iman's left hand and gently helped her to her feet. Without further questioning, he took her out of the dirty trash can. When they went out into the street, he walked in front of her. The runaway and homeless girl, Iman, followed him, her head bowed down, and tears falling from her beautiful eyes onto her rosy cheeks like drops of heavy rain in the middle of autumn. The honorable old man's house is near to where Iman was found. When they arrived home, he knocked on the door with his long stick. Yes, Hajj Abdullah, a woman's voice answered. Hurry, Maryam, and open the door. The door immediately opened from the inside. A woman in her late 40s appeared at the door. She wears an Islamic dress, abaya, and hijab. Iman could only see her round face. Her face resembles that of a religious woman. Listen, Hajja Maryam, I only have a few minutes left to pray in the mosque. Take this noble Arab girl and give her food to eat and juice to drink. Don't ask her any questions until I get back. Okay, Hajj Abdullah. Welcome, get in, my daughter. Hajj Abdullah turned his back and walked a few steps. Then he stopped and shouted at the top of his voice, her name is Iman Sulla al-Junaid. He added that she was a strange girl from the city of Kassala. Iman followed Hajja Maryam inside the house compound. The first sight that caught her attention was 3 beautiful girls sitting on a large prayer rug in a row. The 3 girls are wrapped in Islamic clothes like their mother. They are on their knees in prayer. Their mother directed the new girl to a large table. The table is filled with all kinds of food, fruits, salads, and juice drinks. Do not feel shy, Iman. Eat and drink as if you were at home. I am the mother and lead my daughters in Ramadan Tarawih prayer. I stopped praying to open the door for you and Hajj Abdullah. When Hajja Maryam whispered these words in Iman's ear, she went quietly and sat in front of her daughters. Then she started reciting some Quranic verses. The hungry guest, Iman, quickly washed her hands and began to quench her hunger pain. As she eats with both hands, her eyes constantly look at the three girls and their mother. Their prayers were so long that Iman began to worry that they might fall and hurt their foreheads from the many changes they made, standing, prostrating, and kneeling. The more they prayed, the more the guest ate and drank until she almost finished everything she found on the big table. When the prayer ended, Iman saw the three girls standing in a line and walking in one formation as if they were soldiers in a military parade, and they stood in front of her. The older sister said, "Peace be upon you, my sister. My name is Safa Abdullah. Peace be upon you. My name is Iman Sola Al-Junaid." The middle girl said, "Peace be upon you. My name is Marwa Abdullah." Iman said, "Peace be upon you." The younger girl said, "Peace be upon you. My name is Mona Abdullah." Peace be upon you. After the three sisters greeted the strange guest, Iman, they returned in the same way and occupied the prayer rug. Each of them opened a copy of the Quran and began reciting some verses with their mother. The Muslim girl Iman sat silently and listened intently to the musical female voices reciting the Quran together. The voices of the girls and their mother brought the runaway bride, Insaf, back to the days when she used to break her fast with her mother, Haja Amina, and read a portion of the Quran every day. She wished those days could last forever. She felt happy next to her mother. She loved her father, Haj Salah al-Junaid, too. She was impatiently waiting for his return from the mosque after performing Tarawih prayers during the month of Ramadan. Insaf loved his loud voice when he was calm and not angry, but his anger turned him into an evil demon. She was always thrilled when she saw his long beard and big mustache. Everything went well until she fell in love with the black-faced African Negro boy, Deng. Her father and mother became her sworn enemies. She wondered if one of those three beautiful sisters, daughters of Haj Abdullah and Haja Maryam, would experience what she was going through. Before she could answer the question, she heard a loud knock on the outside door. Iman understood that Haj Abdullah had returned from the mosque. His wife, Haja Maryam, ran to the door and opened it. Iman saw the good old man entering the house. Then he came and sat in front of her. He smiled at her and said politely, "Peace be upon you, my daughter." Iman replied, "Peace be upon you, Uncle Abdullah. How do you feel now?" "Much better. But I still have a hot fever and a severe headache." "Now, my daughter, we have to take you to the doctor. Go with your sister Safa, wash in the bathroom, and change your dress. I have already asked a taxi driver to take you, my wife, and my daughter to the doctor." "Thank you, Uncle, for your kindness and love, and now after eating at your house, I feel a little better. However, I still feel hot in my body, and my head is giving me terrible pain." "Hurry up, my daughter Safa. Give your sister Iman one of your clean dresses and show her where the bathroom is." The older daughter asked the new girl, Iman, very quietly and with polite words, to follow her. Shortly after, Safa returned and joined her family. Then Haj Abdullah narrated in a sad voice to his family the dirty place in the garbage container near his house where he found the noble, homeless Arab girl, Iman Salah al-Junaid, eating rotten waste, accompanied by two emaciated stray dogs. Haja Maryam said in a voice with a mixture of sadness and pride, "The Arab proverb says, an Arab young woman becomes hungry and eats from her thighs, but this noble Arab girl preferred to eat rotten waste from a garbage container instead of selling her thighs to men as a prostitute." Haj Abdullah said, "Yes, this is what I told her when I found her searching the garbage for leftover food to quench her hunger. If she were a bad girl, she would not eat from the garbage. Rather, she would have sold her body to lustful men who do not fear God." Chapter 22. The She-Male Boy Hamada. After that black day in which she was recovered from the garbage container, the days passed beautifully and wonderfully for the Kazlawian guest, Iman Salah al-Junaid, at Haj Abdullah's house. Iman became known among the three sisters as the Kassala girl because she claimed that she had come to Khartoum city to escape from her drunken brother in the city of Kassala. In a fleeting time, she developed a great love for the three daughters and their parents. The good family members also showed her the same love and respect. During the month of Ramadan, Iman's spirituality became active and she became serious about her religious commitment. She has become a devout Muslimah, praying 5 times a day and fasting during Ramadan regularly with her new family. She wore the Islamic abaya and hijab and decided to keep them always. While she was at the Christian priest's house, she took off her hijab and began wearing shirts and pants like a Christian girl. As the days passed, Iman gradually began to understand Hajj Abdullah's daughters. She found that they, like other females, have hearts, feelings, and attraction towards the opposite sex, males. They all have boy lovers and communicate with them secretly. But they did not meet their boyfriends or talk to them in person. Only during engagement parties or weddings and other occasions such as circumcision of boys or genital mutilation of girls did the sisters get opportunities to exchange glances with them and send them flying kisses from a distance. Except for occasional glances and writing letters, Haji Abdullah's daughters never communicated with their secret lovers. Often, the lovers would pass each other in the streets without speaking or greeting each other. Only if the situation permits, lovers exchange smiles and passionate kisses from a safe distance. Muslim sisters will not allow their loved ones to come within 1 meter of their bodies for fear of falling into adultery, becoming pregnant illegally, bringing scandal to the family, and being killed in honor killings at the hands of their father, Abdullah. Their mother warned them not to let any boy near their bodies because she believed in the Sudanese proverb distance the egg from the stone and the female from the male. At first, the Kaslawian girl Iman was confused about how the Khartoumian girls send and receive romantic messages to and from their boyfriends. The three sisters hesitated to reveal the secret until they were sure that the guest, Iman, was a trustworthy girl. The daughter, Safa, whispered to Iman one day, "It is through our neighbor Hamada." Mona said, laughing, "He is like a girl, a gay boy, a she-male, or a sodomite young man." "Yes, he takes our messages to our boyfriends and brings us their responses," Marwa said. Safa concluded her speech by saying, "We reward him with sweet words and gifts such as chocolates." Iman met the boy Hamada on the second day of her stay at Hajj Abdullah's house. He is the family's neighbor. He is a young man in his late 20s. He often visits the family and spends a lot of time talking with the three daughters and their mother. At first, Iman did not like him because he had strong feminine tendencies. He talks like a girl, walks like a girl, takes care of his body like a girl, and gossips like a woman. The only difference between him and the female is his clothes. Therefore, Hajj Abdullah and his wife entrusted him with the care of their daughters as if he were a eunuch slave taking care of the harem in the caliph's palace. He is not a homosexual, a womanizer, or a faggot. Mona said to Iman the other day, "Our neighbor Hamada is not harmful to us. He's just like a woman. He never does anything sexual or thinks bad thoughts about us. He doesn't even have sexual feelings for us like the other boys do. He is completely a woman inside," Marwa said. "How do you know that?" Iman asked in astonishment. Marwa replied, "Because I sat near him many times when we were alone in his house, and he did not feel anything towards me." Mona said while laughing, "I doubt that he has an erect penis that can enter a girl's pussy and fuck her like a boy." Safa said, "My mother and father know that he is gay, and that is why they never ask him not to sit with us." Marwa said, "Our parents do not allow any other boy to enter the women's section of our house and mingle with us except Hamada." Mona said, "Believe me, Iman, even our male cousins are not allowed to come to the women's section here." "Yes, Mona is right," Marwa agreed. "Sometimes we don't see our cousins when they come to visit us. They just sit in the men's section and meet and talk with our father, Hajj Abdullah Othman. Only our female cousins and other female relatives can come to the women's section and meet us." Iman also started talking to Hamada. She began to admire him because he always made her laugh when he imitated the women of the neighbors in their speech, the way they walked, and the way they spoke. Sometimes, he would tease one of the three sisters because of the way she talked, walked, and ate. Haja Mariam loves Hamada because he always brings her gossip and news from other families. He knows everything because he goes to every house and mixes only with women. For this reason, every woman loves spending time with Hamada. He knows which girl loves which boy, which wife is cheating on her husband with her neighbor's man, which husband is secretly planning to marry a second wife alongside his first wife, which family is good or which family is bad, and so on. Hamada is unemployed and does not like to work, and he does not go to school. He is known as the boy who has all the time and complete freedom as a flyer in the open sky. He spends most of his time wandering from one door to another, mingling with the girls like the dog of Al-Sora moving from one door to another. The navel dog, or the dog of Al-Sora in Sudanese folklore, is the dog that does not fuck any doggy bitch in the neighborhood and does not let other dogs fuck the bitches. Hamada lost his parents in a house fire when he was a young child. His real name is Muhammad Hussein, but everyone calls him Hamada or Hamoudi. His aunt, Haja Shahda, raised him. She is the sister of his late father, Hussein. Haja Shahda lives in another house alone. She is a divorced wife and has no children. Only a pet dog and a kitten live with her in her house. She is an extraordinarily rich woman. She claimed to be running a lucrative import and export business. She travels every 3 or 4 months to Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Dubai, and other Gulf countries. She visited India, China, Japan, and many European countries such as the United Kingdom, France, and Germany more than once. From time to time, she comes to visit her elderly mother, Haja Mona, who lives with her nephew Hamada. After divorcing her husband, she insisted that she would not allow any human being to live with her, except for her dog, James, and her cat, Samira. Therefore, after she was expelled and divorced her husband, she refused to let her mother, Mona, and her nephew, Hamada, live with her in her luxurious house. She houses them and supports them in her second house, which is adjacent to the house of Hajj Abdullah Othman. Whenever she stopped by to check on them, she stopped and visited Haja Mariam and her daughters at their home. On her last visit, she met the strange guest, Iman, and she liked her very much. Haja Shahdi asked in a sweet voice as if she were a spoiled teenage girl, "Who is this beautiful girl who looks like Kamar Arbadashar or 14th Moon?" In fact, the extremely wealthy woman's age is 50 years, but she always lies and claims that she is 25 years old. If you ask her how old you are, darling, she will tell you that I am 25 years old, and next year I will be 24 years old. Haja Mariam answered her. Her name is Iman Salah al-Junaid. She is a guest who came to visit us from the city of Kassala. Haja Shahda said eagerly, "Of course, Kassala city has the most beautiful girls in Sudan. I visited that tourist city 7 times and was amazed by the beauty of the women and nature there. Kassala's women have white skin as if they are not like our Sudanese women who are black like burnt coal. So, this beautiful Kaslawian girl Iman is white and has a beautiful face and sweet eyes like an Indian girl." Iman replied, "Thank you, Aunt Shahda." The woman said in astonishment, "How do you call me, Aunt Shahda? No one in this house has ever told you that I visited the house of God in Mecca and performed the Hajj rituals 7 times. I challenge any man or woman in the city to surpass me in the number of Hajj pilgrimages I have made to the holy Kaaba. It is better, my sweetheart Iman, that you call me Haja Shahda before I show you my passport." When Haja Shahda bragged about her number of Hajj pilgrimages to the house of God in Mecca, Hajj Mariam, her daughters, and Hamada burst out laughing. "Yes, laugh, but I have the highest record for being the guest of God Al-Rahman in his ancient home in Saudi Arabia. I also challenge anyone to surpass me in the number of foreign countries I have seen." When she realized that the laughter increased, Haja Shahda said proudly, "I know that women are jealous of me because I am an exceptionally beautiful woman, and men envy me because I am extremely rich. Even though I am divorced and do not have a husband or son living with me in my luxurious palace, except for a pet dog and a lovely cat which I named her Samira. I work hard and make more money than anyone else in the city. Hamada said in a feminine voice as if he were a spoiled girl, "Shame on you, Haja Shahada. You told me that I am your only son." "Yes, you are my only son, Hamudi, but I mean to say a son was created in my womb and came out of my pussy. I was a barren wife, and because of that, my fucking gay husband Almanyok divorced me. I am happy that he married 2 prostituted women after me, and neither of them bore him a son or a daughter." The Kaslawian guest, Iman, said innocently, "Maybe he is the barren husband who cannot have children." "You're right, sweet Mimi, but you know men are useless. They blame everything on women. But let this middle finger of mine be inside the ass of any one of them." When Haja Shahda said those obscene words and raised her middle finger as if she wanted to insert it into the anus of a naked man kneeling in front of her and then taking it out of his mouth like kazuk, the house shook with laughter. Haja Maryam laughed until tears came out of her eyes. The effeminate boy, Hamada, fell to his knees on the ground and clutched his stomach as if he were afraid he would die from laughter. The 3 sisters hugged each other while screaming with hysterical laughter that they couldn't control. "Yes," Haja Shahda continued, "and let this other finger be in the ass of every rotten homosexual man. Dirty and useless men. They fart at night next to their wives without having sex with them. They like to eat, fill their big bellies like pregnant women, and sleep. Then they blame their women when they catch them having sex with other men like gays do. Each one has a cock and fucking a pussy of another woman, but not his wife's cunt." Haj Maryam said to her while she was still laughing, "Please, Haja Shahda, stop saying that. You said that you are a pilgrim woman and have visited the house of God 7 times, so you are supposed to respect the holiness of this blessed month." Haja Shahdi asked sarcastically, "Then what? If I tell the truth about men, will this invalidate my Hajj rituals and cause me to break my fast during the day in Ramadan or spoil my 7 pilgrimages to the house of God? Look at them, each one of them wants to sleep with 2 or 3 women as wives. Those women are competing to get his dick into each one of them pussy and to fuck her even once a night or once a week, but he won't do it. The wife smokes her body with sandalwood smoke, massages her skin with dilka, and removes her pubic hair from her pussy every day, but her man's cock does not get erect and he sleeps next to her like a girl. And if a woman has sex with 2 men at the same time, they will kill her as a prostitute, because Sharia law says the illegitimate child to the bed and the prostitute gets the stone and stoned to death. Why does the Book of God, the Holy Quran, allow a man to have sex with 4 women at the same time as wives, but not allow a woman to have sex with 2 men together as husbands? Please, Shahda, don't spoil our fast with your obscene words. Please talk about something else. Leave the men alone. I know you are defending men because you are the only woman who has a perfect husband and he does not have more than 1 wife. No one is perfect except God. I know that, but at least your husband only sleeps with 1 woman, so he only sticks his cock in your pussy at night." Hamada asked his aunt while still laughing, "What about your husband who divorced you? That useless man would sleep with the devil's wife if he had the chance to insert his cock into her pussy. He married 3 women and is still pursuing the wives of his neighbors and friends." These words of Haja Shah the Al-Badiya made Haja Maryam fall from her chair to the ground. She screams with uncontrollable laughter. "Listen to my wise advice, my sweet Princess Iman," said the pilgrim woman to the beautiful Kaslawian girl. "The more you obey men, the more they betray you. Never believe their deceptive words." Iman felt embarrassed by Haja Shahda's advice. "Now tell me, my sweet Iman, are you engaged to a fiancé but ran away from him? Or are you married to an old man but escaped from him on your first wedding night before he tasted your sweetness?" Insaf was surprised by her correct information as if she were reading her thoughts about her Arab fiancé, Samir Wad Masood, and her arranged marriage to the old man Haj Taha, whom she killed on the first wedding night and fled from his corpse. But she concluded that the abnormal Haja Shahda may have guessed this information about her and had no knowledge of her dark past. "So," she said to her in a voice full of fear and surprise, "I am neither engaged nor married yet." "That's good for you. If I were you, I would not allow any man to marry me and control me. Don't give your body to any man unless you are sure he will not go to another woman after stealing your virginity. Haja Miriam intervened. Do not listen, Iman, to this woman. She's crazy. The tree of divorce fell on her. Well, I am divorced and crazy, and the axe of divorce has fallen into my head, as envious women say about me. Then, Iman, go ahead and listen to the advice of Haja Miriam. In a few years, you will regret it when you remember that you rejected my wise advice. The gossip and chatter between the 5 women and the effeminate boy was interrupted by Haj Abdullah's knock on the outside door. Haja Miriam had to open the door, while Hamada and his auntie Shadu escaped through a small hole in the wall separating the 2 houses. Chapter 23. The blackmail and insidious sexual deal of the pimp lady. Less than a week later, from the day Haja Shadu expressed her low opinion of men, she came again to visit her elderly mother and her nephew Hamada. Shortly after, she sent the effeminate boy to call Iman and ask her to come and meet her. When the gay boy came to Haj Abdullah's house, he found the runaway bride, who had fled justice, Insaf, sitting in a room alone and reading a book. Hamudi came quietly from behind and walked on his tiptoes, put his hands around her head and closed her eyes. Then he shouted in her ears like Aladdin's genie who came out of a magic lamp and frightened and astonished her. The beautiful Kaslawian girl reacted with a scream of terror as if she had discovered a rogue goblin standing behind her. Hamada said in a feminine, emasculated, gay voice, I told you, girl, that I would scare you one day. I wouldn't have been so frightened and jumped out of my chair if I hadn't been reading this book of stories. It is a horror story about ghosts, goblins, and jinn. Oh, sweet sugar Mimi, I have a surprise for you. What is this surprise? Today, my wealthy aunt, Haja Shadu, returned to our house and brought you a beautiful dress as a valuable gift. It's just for me. Daughters of... Yes. The valuable gift is for you alone, and you know that the gift cannot be given or sold. Why for me in particular, and not for one of the daughters of Haj Abdullah and Haj Miriam? I think she likes you because you charmed her with your unparalleled beauty. Where is this beautiful dress that you said was a valuable gift for me alone from your rich aunt? She said you should come to our house and get it yourself. I can't leave the house and go with you. Haja Miriam is asleep. I can't disturb her sleep and wake her to get her permission. All 3 of her daughters are in school now. Haja Miriam does not prevent her daughters from coming to our house. We are more than neighbors. We are like one family. I know she trusts you, but I can't leave because it's not good if someone comes and there will be no one to greet him. But, sweetie, every visitor who comes will knock on the outside door. We will hear his knocking in our house and come and open the door for him. Well, I won't stay more than 5 minutes at your house. Not good if someone comes and there will be no one to greet him. This is enough time to get your beautiful dress from the hands of my generous aunt, who loves you more than she loves any other girl in the entire world. Iman had gone to Hamada's house several times before with the 3 sisters, but she had never gone there alone. This is the first time she has gone there without the knowledge, permission, and company of one of the girls from Haj Abdullah's family. As soon as Haja Shadu saw her, she stood on her feet and hugged her passionately and eagerly, as if she were a lesbian espousing her female lover. My heart began to love you, my sweetheart, from the day I saw you. Honestly, I fell in love with you at first sight. If I were a man, I would have married you now, slept with you, stolen your virginity, tasted your honey by licking your circumcised pussy with my tongue, and made you taste my honey by sucking my pussy too. Iman, of course, is not a lesbian. She had fallen in love with 3 boys before, namely Dang, Samir, and William, and so she was upset by those deviant sexual words loaded with the lust of a shameless lesbian woman. So, she didn't say a word but became terrified. When the beautiful Kaslawian girl did not speak to her, Haja Shadu continued, Sit in this chair, Mimi. Thank you, Auntie Shadu, Iman said after she overcame the shock of the lustful words that she thought were coming from a lesbian. Please, my beloved Mimi, do not tell me again, Aunt Shadu. I am known by my religious title, Haja Shava, and if you do not acknowledge my Hajj and Umrah to the house of God, then call me my beloved Shava. I'm sorry, Haja Shava, I forgot the honorable Islamic title that you deserve because you said you visited the house of God 7 times. Hamada, can you leave me alone with my beloved Mimi? I have an important secret that I want to share with her. Iman was surprised and became even more terrified when Haja Shadi asked her effeminate nephew Hamada to leave so that she could spend some time alone with her because she had a secret that she wanted to reveal to her. Her mind confirmed to her that the abnormal woman, Shada, was really a lesbian, and she wanted to jump in and fuck her with a plastic penis, or lick her vagina with her tongue, as the lesbian does with her female lover while practicing lesbianism. She became trembling and sweating and decided not to engage in such a hateful and forbidden act with a homosexual female. Haja Shada noticed the sudden change and extreme fear in the face of the beautiful Kazlawian girl, Iman. Don't be afraid of me, Mimi. Sit back, relax, and listen to me. Firstly, I have this beautiful dress as a free gift for you. It is an extremely expensive dress. I bought it for you in Paris from Christian Dior stores during my recent trip to France. Believe it or not, honey, I did not buy any of Haja Mariam's girls, not even a pencil or a notebook. Iman said in a muffled voice, "Thank you for your generosity and love for me, Haja Shava." Then Pilgrim Shava stood and placed the expensive dress on Iman's lap. That done, she sat on her knees in front of her and began speaking to her passionately, while her evil eyes began to send sparks flying from them like a cobra had its victim within her tongue's reach. Listen, Iman, I am not like the uneducated religious man, Hajj Abdullah, nor his illiterate wife, Haja Mariam. I am an educated woman and studied until the 10th grade before leaving school and becoming a business tycoon. I browse and read local and international newspapers every day. When Haja Shada mentioned the newspapers, Iman started trembling and sweating. Calm down, girl. I haven't said anything to you yet that would make you so afraid and terrified of me. While her heartbeat was like an African drum, Iman remained silent. Her throat became dry and she choked with fear. She started coughing loudly. I think you have guessed what your dangerous secret is that I want to share with you. Iman said with great fear, Not at all, Haja Shava. Take a look at this picture. Isn't this your picture? Iman looked at her large picture that filled half the front page of the newspaper. She tried to speak, but no words came out of her mouth, which dried up in terror. This is your picture, girl, and this is a lengthy article written about you. You have been accused of 3 horrific murders, 2 robberies, and adultery with your black Negro friend. Ding. Iman said while crying, Please, Haja Shava, do not believe these false accusations written about me in this newspaper. I am an innocent girl. I am not accusing you of these heinous crimes, but the law is accusing you. You are a criminal girl escaping from the police. You are still a dangerous accused running away and hiding from the law. If I pick up the phone and call the police, you will spend the rest of your life in prison. Who knows that you might even be hanged to death for these heinous crimes you committed in 3 cities. Please, Auntie Shada, do not call the police. I am completely innocent of these false charges. Consider me like your daughter. Stop crying and listen to me. I am not a cruel woman. If you do what I want you to do, no one will know about your crimes. Please, my dear aunt, I ask you and beg you by the house of God, to which you have performed Hajj rituals 7 times, let me go. I promise you that I will escape from Hajj Abdullah's house. You don't need to run away. Stay where you are hiding now. Just do what I tell you to do for me, even just once. What do you want me to do for you, my good Aunt Shada? I have a friend at my house now. He is a Saudi man. He is an extraordinarily wealthy and elderly man about your grandfather's age. He won't even touch you with his hand. The only thing he will ask you to do for him is to show him your naked body without your underwear. I cannot do that obscene act, Aunt Shada. This is a dreadful thing for a noble Arab girl like me to do. I have never exposed my naked body to any man before. Okay, Insaf, the fugitive bride, this is my deal. Do what I want you to do for me and you will be safe in hiding in the house of Haja Mariam and her 3 honorable and chaste daughters. Reject that simple request that does not involve adultery or obscenity, and go to prison while you are chained hands and legs as a criminal. Please, Aunt Shada, do not treat me like a bad girl. I am also an honorable and chaste girl like Hajj Miriam's daughters. Who told you that if an honorable and chaste Arab girl shows her naked body to a man, she will become a bad woman? Go and watch Egyptian movies in all the cinemas in Khartoum City. Arab girls who are younger than you and more beautiful expose their naked bodies every day in front of millions of people. But this is an incredibly terrible thing for a good Arab girl to do. I don't want to do that in front of any man. Look, my dear, sweet Mimi, this Saudi Arab man is an impotent man. So, he won't do anything bad to you. He will only look at your sexy naked body for just 5 minutes. He will not even touch you with one of his fingers, nor will he take any pictures of you standing naked in front of him in the living room of my other house. Looking at the deer with the eye will not kill it. Besides, darling of my soul, Mimi, he is an extraordinarily rich man and will pay us a good sum. But I do not want to sell my body or display it naked to any man, no matter how high the price is that he will pay me. When the pimp Shada realized that she would not convince Iman with her words, she went to the phone and picked up the receiver. She started dialing a number. Iman ran, grabbed her hand, and begged her to stop. Please, Auntie Shada, do not hand me over to the police. If you don't want me to make the call to the police, do as I ask you to do. Please, Aunt Shada, don't force me to do such a dreadful thing. I can do anything else for you except this. Listen, Insaf Salah al-Junaid, I learned from this newspaper's article that you are the fugitive wife who killed her husband, Hajj Taha, on their first wedding night in the city of Gadaref. And you fled in the middle of the night and took the train or bus and came here. So, you are not the Kaslawian girl, Iman Salah al-Junaid, who came as a visitor from the city of Kassala, as Haja Miriam told me. You are a criminal girl escaping justice and hiding in Hajj Abdullah's house. Therefore, if I call this number for Khartoum police again, I will not listen to your request. I'm telling you for the last time. Wear this beautiful dress that I bought especially for you today from Saad Gishra Women's Clothing Stores in Khartoum City and come with me immediately and do what I asked you to do. The rich old Saudi man is in my house. But, Auntie Shada, I am fasting now. How can I do this reprehensible act while I am fasting during the blessed month of Ramadan? So, what if you were fasting and even the Saudi man and I would fast today as well? Did you not read in your Islamic education class at school that the Holy Prophet Muhammad used to kiss his wife Aisha on the lips while he was fasting? Okay, Haja Shada, I will come with you, but let me do that after I break my fast at sunset today. The Arab man will return to his country, Saudi Arabia, this afternoon. Therefore, he will not wait until you break your fast in the evening. I've given you enough time to think about it, but it seems like you're trying to trick me and get away from me. I'll tell you, you murderous wife Insaf, what will happen to you if I call the police? The police will beat you with batons in the interrogation room, gang rape you daily, and finally, the criminal court judge will sentence you to capital punishment and hang you to death. But if you accept my simple, humble suggestion and request, you will be saved from all these evils. Okay, Auntie Shada, I will come with you now. But you must promise me that this rude old Arab man will not touch my naked body even once. If he touches your sexy naked body, even with his fingernail, take a knife and kill me in front of him, then slaughter him as well. Are you going to ask me to do such reprehensible and indecent acts again? I told you, my sweetheart, and my lovely princess, you will never see him again. The pimp, Shada, added, the old man will return to his homeland and his holy city, Mecca, at noon, and will never return to our beloved country, Sudan, again. After the bride Insaf, who was fleeing from justice, was forced to acquiesce to this blackmailing sexual deal with the evil pimp, the devil incarnate woman, Haja Shada, the beautiful Kaslawian girl, Iman, angrily and sadly, wore the beautiful dress that showed half of her hidden body's charms. Then she followed the boy's effeminate aunt, Hamada, out of the house and then into the street. The evil pimp holds Iman's hand tightly as if she were a policewoman accompanying a dangerous criminal. By this time, Haja Shada had sent her nephew, Imam, to her house because he had a malicious role to play in this deal. Then the pimp woman stopped a taxi and pulled the runaway wife, Insaf, into the back seat and sat next to her. The driver drove for 20 minutes and then stopped in front of a beautiful house. When they entered the house, Iman saw an old man sitting alone in the living room. From his clothes, white robes, and headband, Iman recognized him as a Saudi sheikh. She guessed that the old man might be more than 70 years old and not less than the age of the alleged husband she had killed on their first wedding night. Sheikh Abdo, the pimp Shah, said in the sweet voice of a young teenage girl, "This is my beautiful, sweet daughter, Mimi. She agreed to entertain you sexually and make you relive your youthful days, but only for a few minutes. She is an exceptionally devout, honorable, and chaste Muslim girl. She would never do this forbidden act with any other man but you." The voluptuous old hunchbacked Arab geezer said with his vile mouth that had no natural teeth, "God bless you and Allah bless her. She is as beautiful as a hurry virgin of paradise." Mimi is 18 years old and has never slept with a man before. She is still a virgin. "I swear on the grave of my late father, Haj Hassan, that I examined her private parts with my 10 fingers and confirmed that her tight, circumcised pussy still retains its hymen intact to this day." By placing her right hand on the Holy Quran, Iman swore that she would not allow a man to insert his penis into her purified vagina and steal her virginity, except for her future Muslim husband, who would marry her according to the Book of God, the Holy Quran, and the Sunnah of his beloved Prophet Muhammad. May God bless him and grant him peace. The elderly Saudi sheikh said, after wiping his right hand on his tall, white beard which is like leprosy and his aged face, "May our honorable Prophet Muhammad, may God bless him and grant him peace, give her a good Muslim husband, and may Allah bless them with many sons and daughters." "My dear Mimi, come on. Take off your dress and underwear, show your honorable Uncle Sheikh Abdo what I asked you to show, but do it quickly. I will send you to Haj Abdullah's house when you finish, and that will be before sunset and prior the sound of the Ramadan canon is heard." When the pimp Shah gave her evil orders to the innocent girl Iman, she went to her room and picked up the phone. She quickly dialed another number and waited for a response. "Can I speak to the police officer Yasser Talha?" "This is Officer Yasser talking to you." A harsh voice was heard speaking on the other line. "Hello, Hazrat Janabo. Yes, this is your sweet mother-in-law, Haja Shada. I have brought to my house the beautiful virgin girl I told you about. She agreed to do everything for me. She is as beautiful as an angel and a maiden of heaven and as sexy as an Indian film star. Yes, come to my house as soon as possible. Just tell her what I told you and she will sleep with you today in my bed as if she were your virgin bride. Yes, come with the police car and your khaki uniform immediately. She now knows that I learned about her past criminal life and knew who she was. We hold something extremely dangerous against her. I promise I can bring her to my house anytime you want her naked in bed. Yes, she will be yours alone, and I will not show her to any other wealthy man among my many clients. Yes, I promise you with my beautiful eyes that I will never show her stunning beauty and sexy body to any other rich man. Then hurry up and come flying on the carpet of wind and enter your bride, and enjoy fucking her circumcised pussy, penetrating her hymen, and stealing away her virginity. I swear on my father's soil of his grave that I examined her private parts today with my middle finger and found that her tight pussy had a hymen in it. Come now and stuff your big cock into the small hole of her little pussy that you fucked me with until you made me squirm and scream from the pain I felt inside my already deflowered pussy." The obscene words of the pimp and the whore made the police officer's cock stand like a Ramadan cannon inside his khaki uniform. So, he rushes out of his office as if he's chasing a beautiful, sexy criminal girl who has murdered a woman and is about to flee the crime scene. He wants to reach her alone and rape her near the murdered woman's body before putting her in the women's prison. This is what he did repeatedly in the interrogation room with the accused girls who became helpless victims in his hands. Once the pimp lady made her second evil deal against Iman, she went to the bathroom and quietly knocked on the door. Haja Shada whispered, "Are you in the toilet, Hamudi?" A soft female voice said, "Yes, I am hiding here, Haja So-So." Did you secretly photograph her with him after she took off her clothes and showed him her sexy naked body? Yes, Haja Shushu. I photographed her completely naked. She became naked without a single piece of cloth on her sexy body. Did she take off everything, even her undergarments like her underwear and bra? Yes, she showed him her hairy pussy and big buttocks. He made her spin like a table fan several times in front of him while she was naked as on the day she came out of her mother's pussy. You did well, my nephew Hamudi. I'll pay you a lot of pennies for that. Go and hide inside my bedroom near my large bed and cover yourself with a sheet or cloth so that no one can see you. When she sleeps with police officer Yasser while they are naked, then you must take more pictures of her having sex with him. Don't tell anyone about this yet. With these explicit nude photos, we can blackmail them both. Well, I will do that too, my rich Aunt Shada. Shortly after, the evil woman returned to the living room and found Aman getting dressed. Okay, Sheikh Abdo, I will see you again this evening at Khartoum International Airport. Have you prepared the amount of the check for this pleasant secret transaction which you spent in an illicit seclusion with the beautiful Virgin Mimi? Asked the greedy woman. Sheikh Abdo said, I have the check here in your name, but don't take more than half the money. Give this sweet virgin, Mimi, half of it in full, as I agreed with you. Iman said angrily while crying, I told you, you dirty old man, I don't want your money. God will punish you because you forced me to show my naked body to you and saw my private parts against my will while I was fasting. Haja Shada said seriously, calm down, Mimi. If you speak in this offensive way again to my beloved Saudi Sheikh Al-Jalil Al-Hajj Abdo, I will call the police and hand you over to them while you are tied with ropes. The word police caused the impudent Saudi Sheikh Abdo to stand up from the sofa and quickly leave the house and disappear. Then Aman angrily said to the pimp, Shada, now let me go back to Hajj Abdullah's house. The fugitive bride, Insaf, decided that as soon as she returned to the good man's house, she would run away and look for another refuge. Aman expected that the woman who pimped her would always blackmail her sexually and turn her into a sex slave for her rich clients. Because you said that dreadful thing to my friend Sheikh Abdo, I will never speak to you again. Don't you know that he is my Arab husband and I am his Sudanese wife? I am his Misyar's wife who has no real sex with him because he is impotent. I'm sorry, Auntie Shada, for what I said to your secret Arab husband. I felt disgusted when I exposed my private parts in front of that old Saudi man who was older than my late grandfather Al-Junaid. Okay, my sweetheart Mimi, I won't let any other old man see your sexy naked body again. I admit my horrific mistake, and I am ready to apologize to you, my sweet Insaf Sulla Al-Junaid, while I am on my knees. Thank you, Haja Shada. There is no need for you to kneel before me and ask for my forgiveness. Now please send me to the house of the honorable old man, Hajj Abdullah, who found me eating from a filthy garbage can and brought me home and took care of me as his own daughter. I wanted to send you to Hajj Miriam's house as soon as possible, but one of my friends called me on my mobile phone while I was in my room. That phone call came while you were here. You were practicing a temporary dowry-paid enjoyment marriage with my Saudi husband, Sheikh Abdo. The caller is the Sudanese person who told me about your crimes and showed me the newspaper that mentioned them and had your picture in it. He is a policeman and a senior officer in the Khartoum Investigation Department. He is on his way to my house now. He's coming to make a secret deal with you. But he is not a homosexual man, or a castrated slave, or impotent old geezer, or the like of those useless guys whose dicks do not erect when they see a hot girl, like you, as my Saudi husband, Sheikh Abdo. So, without a doubt, he will ask you to fuck him even once, and he will insert his cock into your pussy and crave your honey, and you will crave his honey. If you do not want to have forbidden sex with him, you can have a temporary mudda marriage, even for just 1 hour. He will tell you, I marry you myself, and you will say to him, I marry you myself, and then you can fuck each other and have halal Islamic sexual intercourse in my bedroom and on my bed. I will not interfere between you and him. It is up to you both to settle the sexual deal for a temporary marriage between you and God and his messenger. He told me that he could hide you here in my mansion and not expose your crimes to the police if you agreed to sleep with him just once. I will ask him to use a condom so that you do not get pregnant with an illegitimate child and give birth to Walid Haram. The runaway bride, Insaf Silla al equals Junaid, listened to the evil woman's words and understood from them that she was planning to blackmail her forever. She intends to turn her into a sexual commodity for sale to rich men to satisfy her greed for wealth, which only the fires of hell can satisfy. She concluded that Haj Shahda had kidnapped her from Haj Abdullah's house and intended to hold her captive in her home. Iman guessed correctly that Shahda is not an import and export trader, but rather a pimp who trades in girls' bodies and makes a profit from selling their thighs to lustful Arabs and Sudanese rich men. She also expected that the police officer Yasser coming to the procurer's house would blackmail her continuously to satisfy his lust for her sexy body. When the beautiful Kazlawian young woman, Iman, imagined herself being turned into a prostitute and a sex slave forever at the hands of the pimp, Shahda, and her many lustful wealthy men, she decided to put an end to it before it was too late. So, without words, she quickly grabbed a vase made of stainless steel and ran towards the evil woman. The frightened pimp turned her back and tried to run for her life. She stumbled onto the couch and fell flat on her back. Iman reached her at that moment and threw the heavy vase at her big head. The heavy metal fractured Haja Shahda's skull and killed her instantly. Her eyes became bulging like a witch killed in a horror movie, and her vile mouth became foaming with slugs and blood. The horrific sight of the evil woman's corpse reminded Insaf of the corpses of the old man, Haj Taha, and her friend Badriya. So, she turned her face away and quickly left the house of the vile, greedy pimp lady. She entered one of the crowded streets of Khartoum city and fled as if Satan the devil was chasing her with a double-edged sword in his hand. Chapter 24. Mass arrests of girls in the Sudanese capital city. The killing of Haja Shah terrified the runaway bride, Insaf, and made her flee with the same speed as she had previously fled from between the killed bodies of her 77-year-old husband Haj Taha and her roommate, Badriya Adarub. Police officer Yasser Talha discovered the dead body of the evil woman a few minutes after the murderous girl had fled the crime scene. He had come to sexually blackmail her and make her a victim ready to fulfill his sexual desire whenever he wanted her in bed. Neighbors gave good descriptions of the people who left the house that day. The first was an old Saudi man who left the house in a hurry. They recognized him as a Saudi sheikh from his jilbab on his body and his headband on his square head. The second person was a beautiful girl who escaped from the house shortly after the old Arab man disappeared. The beautiful girl ran away from home as if someone wanted to kill her. The third person is the nephew of Haja Shahda, known to the neighbors as the effeminate homosexual Hamada. Because of his feminine behavior, the neighbors thought that he was either a gay man who had a male lover or a faggot boy who practiced sodomy with everyone. Hamada also ran out of the house as if he had seen something terrifying happen inside. The police arrested Muhammad Hussein, known as Hamada, from his home and extracted the truth from him. They also seized the camera film they found in the house and developed some nude photos of the girl. She was accused of being a high-profile prostitute who was brought to the wealthy old Saudi man by the murdered woman, the pimp Haja Shahda. The Saudi sheikh had sex with the teenage Sudanese girl and paid a hefty sum of money to both the prostitute and the pimp who brought her to him. Because of the dispute over the division of the generous sum of money, the prostitute girl killed the pimp woman. The family of Haj Abdullah Othman had sheltered the prostitute girl for a period of time without knowing that she was a slut. She is known to the family as Iman and pretends to be a devout Muslim girl who prays and fasts. The police were able to identify the accused as the same girl who killed her friend Badriya a few months ago. It was also a quarrel over a financial dispute, which led to the first murder. The late Badriya was also a street prostitute. She was arrested 3 times by police in connection with the same illegal activities of disguised prostitution. The 2 girls, Badriya and Ishraka, claimed to be students at the University of Khartoum, which enabled them to rent an apartment together. The next day, the newspapers published a huge photo of Iman and many stories about her. She was described as a dangerous criminal girl involved in 4 murders and 2 robberies. Gedaref police accuse her of killing her infant and throwing his remains in a creek near her parents' house. She committed adultery with someone, became pregnant before marriage, and gave birth to an illegitimate child. She also killed her husband, Haj Taha, on their first wedding night. In addition, she killed her roommate, Badriya Adarub, by stabbing her in the chest with a large dagger, and brutally slaughtered a pimp named Haja Shah by hitting her in the head with an iron vase and splitting her skull in 2. The police also accused the girl of stealing expensive jewelry from a wealthy Arab family in Port Sudan city known as the Massoud family. She also broke the safe of a church pastor who sheltered her in his house because she was homeless and without money or shelter, and stole a considerable sum of money from him and fled in broad daylight. The accused girl hid her identity and changed her name and appearance wherever she went. She was known in Port Sudan city as Isin. In Khartoum, she claimed that her name was Ashraka. In the city of Omdurman, she lied to the family of the church priest and said her name was Elam. In Khartoum Bari, she told Haj Abdullah's family that her name was Aman. Once she claimed that she was a university student named Ishraka, and another time she became a Muslim girl called Anam. Then she abandoned Islam and became a Christian, converted to Christianity, and called herself Elam, and another time after she fled from the church. She told Haj Abdullah's family that she was a devout Muslimah who wore the hijab and abaya and said her name was Aman. When she was a Christian in the church, she wore shirts and pants, and the police found pictures of her to prove this. Everywhere she went, she told a different story about herself and her place of origin. She changed her name, her clothes, her behavior, and the truth about her identity as if she were a chameleon that changes its color everywhere she moves. Her real name is Insaf Sulla al-Junaid, and she is a citizen of the city of Gedaref. Breaking news about the girl who killed 4 people and stole expensive jewelry and money caused a great stir and curiosity in the 3 capitals of Sudan, Khartoum, Omdurman, and Bari. Everywhere in Sudan, people discussed the serious charges against her. Her stunning beauty and sexy body increased people's curiosity and admiration for her. People viewed her case with contradictory feelings of admiration and aversion. Many loved her and few hated her. The majority of those who hated her were religious men, and the majority of those who loved it were secular women. People reacted differently to her problem. Some of them saw the accused girl as prey to the selfish motives of lustful rich men. This is a feminist group. Some saw the girl as a victim of economic pressure. These are among anti-government political parties. But none of them viewed the accused girl as an innocent suspect. They collectively accepted the validity of the charges against her. Women's rights activists called on the government to save the girl's life, but they insisted that she should be punished with a long imprisonment term. The government considered the girl's case criminal and should be dealt with as such in the Khartoum Criminal Court. The search for the dangerous accused girl is so intense that more than 200 girls were arrested on the same day. Among them are homeless girls, there are prostitutes who were arrested in brothels, and some of them are street hookers. Many of the apprehended girls are students at senior high schools and universities, such as the University of Khartoum and Cairo Branch University. They were arrested in public parks, cinema halls, and the banks of the Nile River. Then they were taken from the hands and from the arms of their friends and lovers and placed together, females and males, in police custody. When news of the mass arrest spread, many families prevented their daughters from going to the streets that day. In fact, the Islamic government seized the opportunity and decided to cleanse the capital city of Sudan of open and disguised prostitution. Some female students were rescued by their families before policemen could interrogate, torture, and gang rape them. As for the arrested girls whose families were unable to provide sufficient evidence that their male friends were related to them by blood, were married to them, or were engaged to them, they were detained under the attempted adultery law. This law was recently created by one of the modern Sudanese jurists and was added to Sharia law. Under this law, any married woman or unmarried girl found talking, standing, sitting, or walking with a man who is not her husband, brother, father, or grandfather must be arrested for the crime of attempting adultery or attempting to commit indecency. And the penalty for both the woman and the man will be the same as those caught red-handed committing an act of adultery anyway. The accused girl in question was arrested late at night on the same day she committed the murder of Haja Shah in her luxurious home. The main accused was arrested when she was seen wandering aimlessly alone along the riverbank. 2 hours later, 4 large female interrogators pulled her out of police custody and took her to the interrogation room. Then they fixed her hands and tied them with ropes at 2 corners, leaving her legs hanging. She became as if she had been crucified. They stripped her of her dress and left her half naked. A strong, bright light, like that of a football field at night, focused on her face. She felt the hot light, like the rays of the scorching sun, penetrating her closed eyes, or she was thrown tied with ropes into a sauna with extremely hot temperatures that burned the skin of her naked body. Although she closed her eyes, she was unable to protect her face from burns due to the intense heat. She pulled hard to free her hands from the ropes, but she couldn't. Then an angry female voice shouted in her ears, "Listen, bitch, we know every crime you committed. So, do not try to act intelligently and deny your crimes. We will tell you what charges you face, and you must admit to them. If you deny any accusation, we will peel your skin and pull out your nails. We don't care if you die while we're interrogating you. We have cases where stubborn female criminals died during interrogation. No one can hold us responsible if we kill you during interrogation. If you disagree with the charges, your attorney will try to defend you in court, but will certainly fail." The main accused girl of the murder of the pimp woman Shah heard the threats and instructions and knew that the policewoman who said them meant every word of it. "What is your full name?" she shouted, with the same harsh feminine voice as a hyena's howl. "Insaf Salah al-Junaid. How old are you?" "I am 18 years old. Are these your photos?" Insaf slowly opened her eyes and looked at the pictures. She was shocked when she saw herself completely undressed and standing naked in front of the Saudi sheikh. Seeing the old man sitting on the sofa lustfully looking at her naked body made her feel disgusted. She tried to free her hands from the ropes and get the obscene photos from the policewoman's hands and destroy them. When she did not succeed in freeing her hands, she spat on those shameful images. "You hate those bad pictures, but you do not hate the money that was paid to you to expose your private parts in front of a strange man," said the same investigator. Insaf said while crying bitterly and heartily, "I didn't receive any money for those dirty pictures. They were filmed without my knowledge by that evil pimp woman, Haja Shah, who blackmailed me and forced me to expose my body in front of that impudent old Saudi man who enjoys seeing the nakedness of a victim girl like me. Why did you kill the woman who linked you to the rich Saudi man and allowed you to commit adultery with him in her house? Is it because she refused to give you enough money?" "I didn't kill her for money. I killed her because she wanted to sell my body to have sex with a Sudanese policeman who she said was coming to blackmail me as well." "So, you admitted that you killed Haja Shah?" "Yes, I killed her, and if she comes back to life I will cut her into pieces." "Why did you kill your friend and roommate Badriya Adarub? Was the reason also a dispute over the division of illicit money?" "I did not kill my friend Badriya. Another person attacked her and stabbed her in the chest with a dagger while she was sleeping at night in her room. I saw the killer man when he ran out of her room and fled from our apartment." "If you didn't kill her, why did you run away from her dead body and your apartment? Why didn't you stay in the apartment, call the police, and report the murder?" "I was very scared." "Why were you so afraid to report the murder to the police if you were an innocent girl as you claimed?" "I don't know." Insaf hesitated to tell her investigators that she was afraid that the police would arrest her for killing her husband, the old man Haj Taha. After she said this vague sentence, "I don't know," she felt a strong slap on her face. She was not prepared or expecting that blow, and she felt like an angry lioness slapped her. She also felt as if a bullet had been fired into her cheek from point-blank range. Insaf screamed loudly in unbearable pain. Another hand stroked her neck and left ear. "We told you, you filthy whore, to tell us the truth. We are not here to chat with you." "Don't tell us no again," shouted the same policewoman interrogating her. I don't know. That's a vague answer you can give to one of your men and pimps, but not to a police interrogator. You and your roommate Badria were prostitutes and disguised yourselves as university students studying at the University of Khartoum. Am I right? Asked the harsh female voice. Insaf shouted angrily, we were neither prostitutes nor college students. Rather, we were friends and roommates. We will cut out your tongue if you lie to us again. We have a police record of Badria's activities. She was a call girl for her male clients, and she was also a prostitute who sold her body to men on the streets. She had no other job or any other source of income. We found a lot of money and gold ornaments in her room. She had expensive clothes too. We also found expensive dresses and jewelry in your room. Tell us where you and Badria got the money and those expensive things. I'm not a whore. I am a respectable and good Muslim girl from a noble Arab family. Are you the good Arab Muslim girl who stabbed her slut friend and ran away and became a high-profile prostitute for displaying her naked body for wealthy Arab men? The police investigator asked the accused, Insaf, sarcastically. I did not kill Badria. I told you someone else killed her, and I don't know why he killed her. You are the main suspect in Badria's murder, and your escape and hiding from justice confirms that you actually killed her. Insaf was unable to respond to this accusation. She kept crying. You also killed your legal Muslim husband, Hajj Taha, on your first wedding night and fled. I didn't kill him intentionally. I pushed him and he fell on the hardwood floor of my room, cracked his fragile skull and died. Why did you push him and cause his sudden death? Because he was trying to rape me. The investigating policewoman herself said again sarcastically. Your Muslim husband wanted to rape you. What a ridiculous excuse to give to the police to try to justify yourself for committing yet another murder of an innocent person. The old man, Hajj Taha, was not my legal Muslim husband. You mean to tell us that he came to your family at night and told your parents, I want to commit adultery with your teenage daughter, Insaf. My father married me to Hajj Taha against my will. This means that you were married to the late old man by your father who got married with him at the mosque. He is your father and your guardian, so Islamic law gives him the right to arrange your marriage without taking your permission. Accused Insaf remained silent again. You admitted that you pushed the old man on your first wedding night, and he fell on his back and broke his neck and fractured his skull. He died instantly before your mother discovered his death and called the police the next morning. You caused his death and escaped from his dead body without telling anyone about his death. Therefore, you are responsible for killing him. Insaf confirmed and admitted this accusation. But she cried like never before. The same harsh feminine voice asked, why did you kill your illegitimate infant after giving birth to him out of the marriage bond? Or was it your mother who strangled the infant and killed him because he was born illegitimate? Insaf was surprised when she heard the above-mentioned accusation made against her and her mother. She thought that the police interrogator mixed up her case with that of another girl. I have never given birth to a child in my life, whether he was walid halal or permissible or walid haram or illegitimate. I also did not kill any infant. You had a forbidden love affair with a black African Goro boy from South Sudan called Deng. Your parents considered your romantic relationship as forbidden love because you were a purebred Arab girl and your lover is a black Negro slave, as they claimed. We, as policewomen, know that Sudanese statutory law does not prohibit love relationships between white Arab girls and black African men, but Arab customs reject that. The police report stated that your Negro lover, Deng, committed adultery with you and impregnated you outside of the legal Islamic marriage bond. When your Arab parents learned of your illegitimate pregnancy, they locked you inside the house until you gave birth to the illegitimate child. Of course, no Muslim or Arab family wants to keep an illegitimate child because that is against the law. In order to hide the scandal, you or your mother suffocated the baby on the same day you secretly delivered him with a midwife's assistant. In the middle of the night, your family threw the dead baby into a creek near your home. Then your father wanted to get rid of you by marrying any Arab man, regardless of his age or social status. You were an incredibly lucky Arab girl because your father did not slaughter you in an honor killing. Instead, marry you to the old man Hajj Taha, whom he said you killed on your first wedding night. Insaf listened to this story with great amazement. She saw some truth in it, but she wondered how the ill-gotten child, the so-called Walid Haram, had been added to her tragedy. The investigating policewomen waited some time for her response. When she did not respond, they concluded that she had confessed to the crime of committing adultery, giving birth to an illegitimate child, and killing him by strangling him to death. Now let's come to the theft charges. You stole and ran away with the jewelry of your Arab fiancé, Samir Wad Masood, while you were in Port Sudan City. You also broke the safe of a church pastor in his office and stole a hefty sum of money from him when you came to this city. Are these accusations true? These are not true accusations. I did not intentionally take the jewelry of my wealthy Arab fiancé, Samir Masood. I ran away with them on my body on the day of our engagement party and was unable to return and give them to my fiancé Samir's family. I feared that I would be arrested and convicted for causing the death of my alleged Muslim husband, the old man Hajj Taha. When I came by train from Port Sudan to Khartoum, I kept them with me in my apartment until I escaped from Badria's body. I left all those pieces of expensive jewelry hidden in my room when I ran away. No one, not even my friend Badria, knew that I was hiding the gold jewelry in my room. What did you do with the priest's money that you looted when you robbed his office safe and stole the church's savings? I did not rob anyone's house or steal any money from the office treasury of the Christian priest, the father of my Christian lover, William. I did not flee from his house, which was within the campus of his church, until he threatened to hand me over to the police. How did you escape from his house? I escaped through the window of my small room, then jumped over the wall and fled. You escaped from the priest's residence in the same way thieves escape when they steal people's property. I was neither a robber nor a burglar. I fled from them because they wanted to hand me over to the police. Only thieves, prostitutes, murderers, and other criminals are afraid to hand themselves over to police authority. I am not one of these criminals. I am an innocent girl of all the false charges that have been unfairly and slandered against me. Well, tell the judge and his jurymen that when you stand before them in the dock at the criminal court. I think we're done with her. Another policewoman said, "Yes, ma'am." Then untie her from her hands, dress her up, then take her to the women's prison. Those concluding words were shouted by the police investigator who interrogated the suspected girl, Insaf Salah al-Junaid.